It's a new day, and because it's a weekday, it's time for Business Morning here on Channels Television. You're welcome to 55 minutes of current and relevant business conversations. You have it with me, Ini John Mekwa. You're welcome. Well, let's start right off with oil prices. It was a little changed on Tuesday after China reported a sharp monthly drop in imports in July, which reinforced demand fears, though that was offset by supply concerns from Saudi Arabia and Russian output cuts. Oil imports to China, which is the world's largest oil importer and second largest consumer, in July were 43.69 million metric ton. That's about 10.29 million barrels. That's according to data from the General Administration of Customs. That was down 18.8% from imports in June, though up 17% from a low base a year ago. China's falling oil imports occurred amidst disappointing economic data for July, with the export-dependent economy reporting outbound shipment fell by 14.5%, the biggest decline since February 2020 and higher than analysts had expected. Brent crude futures were at $85.38 a barrel. That's up 4 cents, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $82.02 a barrel. That added 8 cents. Both contracts settled around 1% lower in the previous session as investors braced for weaker demand from China and the United States, the two biggest oil consumers and economies. Markets are also awaiting U.S. oil and fuel products inventory data forecasted to come at 200,000 barrels drawdown in crude inventories and a rise in gasoline stocks of 200,000 barrels at this time. Let's go to grain now. Chicago soybean and corn futures lost more ground today with improved condition of both crops in the U.S. Midwest and forecast of beneficial weather weighing on prices. Wheat prices slid 1%, giving up some of the last session's gains, which were triggered by concerns over Black Sea supplies. The most active soybean contracts on the Chicago Board of Trade lost 0.3% at $12.98 a bushel, and corn gave up 0.2% to $4.95 a bushel. Wheat also fell 1% to $6.51 a bushel. Weekly condition ratings for the United States soybean and corn crops improved in the past week more than expected, but the spring wheat crop deteriorated according to U.S. government data. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, rated 57% of the corn crop as good to excellent in its weekly crop progress report, and that's better than 55% a week ago, while 11 analysts surveyed say on average they had expected an improvement of 1 percentage point. It rated 54% of the soy crop as good to excellent, up from 52% last week, and customs data shows that China imported 9.73 million metric tons of soybeans in July, and that's up about 23% from a year ago. Imports in the first 7 months of the year by the world's top soybean buyer came to 62.3 million tons, and that's up 15% compared to a year ago. Edible oil now. Malaysian palm oil futures slipped for a second session on Tuesday, tracking heavy losses in rival edible oils to hit their lowest in nearly 6 weeks. While the benchmark palm oil contract for October delivery on the Bursa Malaysia Derivatives Exchange slid 33 ringgit to 3,739 ringgit per metric ton in early trade, and that's its lowest since June 28th. Weekly condition for the ratings for the U.S. soybean crop improved in the past week more than analysts had expected. The USDA rated 54% of the soy crop as good to excellent, up 52% last week. Well, let's come back home to Nigeria now. One of the hottest topics at this time, apart from the ministerial screening, which took the shine yesterday, is reaction following the closure of Niger Republic's airspace announced by the military junta at the weekend. In the midst of divergent views, renowned businessman Mr. Atedo Peter Side shares his own opinion on the implications of this for Nigeria. Mr. Peter Side says the airspace closure will drive up the cost of air travel even more for Nigerians going to Europe.
But following the news and the discussions, it was Nigeria that first mentioned declaring a no-fly zone or something like that. And actually, as soon as that was mentioned, some of us got very worried because if you look at geography, Nigeria and Nigerians need to fly more through Niger than people in Niger need to fly to Nigeria. I mean, let me just ask you, how many people do you think from Niger are flying south to come to Nigeria? Where are the flights from Miami I mean, how many people? Any trade along that border across all those northern states is largely on the ground. So in terms of air traffic, the traffic is from Nigeria that when we want to go north, we have to fly across Niger. So when you are looking for sanctions, ideally you should be looking for those sanctions that penalize the other person. You don't penalize yourself in the name of sanctions. So the worry for some of us was that, hang on a second, if we talk about not being able to fly across Niger, then we have a problem. And let me tell you why we have a problem. Because even if you are flying to the Middle East and so on, you may not know this, but there are some other countries that currently nobody overflies, including Nigeria. These other two countries are Libya and Sudan. So if you add Niger to them, really we have cut off easy access in that direction. And then when you come nearer home and towards the west, I just pray that Mali, who are sympathetic to Niger, do not join Niger in closing their airspace for us. But if you look at the map carefully, if Mali joins Niger, then we're in deep trouble. The only way to go north is to first fly west, almost all the way to Senegal. So the point I'm making is that there are already enough things driving up the costs of being in Nigeria and doing business in Nigeria. And I don't think if you can find any way to diffuse the situation and not to force our air traffic to be going around in circles, because that puts further pressure on our own economy. Aviation fuel is deregulated, it's expensive. If we have to fly a longer route, we have to spend to consume more aviation fuel. And that is pressure on our own foreign exchange to buy more aviation fuel. So I'm just saying that in the choice of sanctions against any country, I think the rules are that you look at those things that will not inconvenience your own people.
Our peace is needed. Of course, they need to be very thoughtful about those sanctions, also important right there. Well, let's go to another topic of importance to us in Nigeria. About a month ago now, President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency on food insecurity to tackle the increase in food prices. Well, according to him, the plan was that in the immediate term, some savings from the fuel subsidy removal will be deployed into the agricultural sector, focusing on revamping the agricultural sector and, of course, making food more available and accessible, or affordable is the word now, for a lot of Nigerians. But it's not just at the federal. Let's head to the states now and see what states are doing following this declaration, which is just about a month now. I think that was done on the 13th of July, so it's almost a month now. We have joining us for this conversation the Commissioner of Agriculture in Osun State, Mr. Tola Fasheru, joins us virtually from the state capital. Good morning, Mr. Fasheru. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Nini. Thank you for having me today.
So when this declaration was made, obviously it's coming from the top, but we know that people live in states. How did you in Osun State receive this, and what have you been doing about it?
In Osun State, we have a governor that is people-focused and believe so much in ensuring that, irrespective of the situation, that his people, are happy and they live a good life, and that their livelihood is maintained, irrespective. And so, my governor, His Excellency Senator Nuruddin Jackson Ademola Adeleke, has put up a whole lot of things to ensure that, people they don't, get, into extinction because of this problem. You recall that as soon as he came in, the issues of backlog of salaries and entitlements to the workers, he resolved all of that. And and then of course you will see that his pivot program, to ensure that lives are better for the people is through agriculture. To ensure that agriculture is a mainstay for our people in this country, and he's saying that he wants to do a revolution to see that there's food security, there's food sufficiency for our people. We know that the federal government is trying to do a few things in terms of palliatives here and there, but we are also ready to see that the youths are empowered. We drive industrialization through agric, and there is a revolution that we want to make Osun State a model state for others. So we are looking at the cash crops, agric. When it comes to Osun State, we have these key strategic products. The cocoa is there, cashew is there. We have the palm oil, the palm kernels. We have rice. We have maize. We have cassava. We're working on all these things. We're hitting the ground running, giving access. A lot of meetings we started having with the private sector. Those who are going to be partnering with us to ensure that we guarantee food sufficiency for our people, and then we are able to ensure that export is driven from Osun. And of course, you know that we are also close to Lagos, to the port. So we're going to take advantage. We're going to take advantage of that. And want to grow the whole value chain. We want to grow the whole value chain, and then ensure that processing of these items, of these food items, is encouraged. So our doors are open already, and we have been meeting even with strategic development partners in respect of this.
Yeah, interesting, because of course you as a former president of African Cashew Alliance Exports, obviously we expect that your interest will be in the value chain, but before we get to even the value chain, in spite of these efforts by the Nigeria's government, both at the state and the federal, we still have a huge level of post-harvest losses, about 60%. And if we're talking of food security and we're still having wastage of about 60%, that poses a huge challenge, to this food security.
Yeah, you're right. One of the areas we're going to drive our agriculture is through technology. Through technology. And that will help us to save a lot. Technology and, of course, capacity building, training the farmers. These are things I've done in the private sector window before. Now, with the magnanimity and the grace of God and that of my governor, bringing me to drive to drive agriculture in the state, we are going to see that the wastages are minimized. We did that in cashew already. Before now it was really terrible what our farmers were losing. But we trained them. We taught them the best agricultural practices, how they should dry their cashews, how they should package and store their cashew to prevent wastage. All of this we're going to do across the various commodities that we have in Osun, to see that one of the things that we're also doing, even for the cattle people, we're trying to get them refrigerating vans to see that their meat is preserved, is healthy, is wholesome. So it's a systemic thing. It's a whole package we're doing in Osun, and I'm sure within a short distant time, you will see us, setting the pace particularly in terms of agriculture. We want to let the whole nation see what is possible, across all those commodities.
All right, so talking about the issue of preservation and all of that, we've had a couple of conversations here, and we see that area as an area that could also provide employment, attract investments and entrepreneurs. Is Osun State working to attract the private sector to that area of preservation and storage, which is a huge gap that has been left for a while in our agricultural chain?
Yes, clearly. One of the things that we are doing, you remember way back, we have all these farm settlements across the southwest, courtesy of Babafemi Awolowo. And what we're trying to do now is to, try and refurbish, try and look at what we have at the moment. A lot of them have been grounded. But His Excellency has already told us to go and review all these areas and see how we can bring them back to life and then develop new areas, particularly for storage, so that when these goods are properly stored, properly dried for those that need drying, we're going to create drying platforms so that because moisture is a major challenge with commodities. If you don't dry them well, and you don't store them well, that will be a problem. So we're going to bring the expertise that we have into the fore to ensure that the warehouses, the storage facilities are provided. And like I said, it's a value chain approach. We are accessible to our farmers. We are accessible to everyone along the value chain, and we are meeting them, where their needs are. And I think that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to be close to them. The whole idea is to know what they want, and then, rather than thinking from your own head, dialogue, meeting of minds, and then providing solutions so that we can get agriculture, which is that area where we have comparative advantage. We can get it to work for Nigeria, and we're going to start from Osun.
All right, we expect. But what immediate results can we expect to see from all these efforts, especially with this pronouncement of state of emergency on food insecurity?
Yeah, you're going to be seeing that, because for us in Osun, we're not waiting. We are not waiting. We want to begin to bring out plans and organize ourselves in a way that we can give quick results. One thing I've also noticed is that Southwest needs, our farmers in the Southwest, they really need a lot of government support. Even to prepare the ground alone is much more difficult in the Southwest because of the kind of vegetation we have, huge forests and all that. So for a farmer to even start to plow the ground, to cultivate, to plant, it's difficult. Across towards the north, the vegetation it's quite it's savanna, so you can see it's easy. So we are going to be supporting our farmers with the tractors, with harvesters and all that. So we're already working on that to ensure that we actually support them in mechanizing the agriculture, and that's how we can even make it agribusiness, to ensure that their livelihood is guaranteed. If an average farmer will be able to drive a car, an average farmer should be able to send his children to the right schools, should not be disadvantaged in any way. And so that's the idea. That's our mindset, to bring about to change the narrative for agriculture.
Yeah, but insecurity still remains a challenge, in the agricultural landscape. I guess that is also, I think the president said whenever they're having the Security Council meeting, this is going to be, the issue of food security will be a part of the conversation. A lot of farmers, even there in Osun State, we've heard stories of farmers who have been killed on their farmlands, and so that has scared a lot of farmers from going back to the farms. What is your government, what is the Osun State government doing, in this area?
Thank you very much. Well, relatively, there's been some good level of peace in Osun, as compared to most places. And we, my governor is working with all the security apparatus we have in the state to ensure that our people are able to do their business unhindered, are they able to fend, to make their own contribution to the economy of the state. So we're working on that. And there's still, at least in Osun, there's still that sense of peace and tranquility, which we hope will improve over time. And I know that with the president has been talking about, our president has been talking about peace and security. I know that a lot of work is being done with the new crop of security chiefs that we have. I believe we will have, Nigeria will become safe again.
We pray for that safety. But I don't think we can end this conversation without talking about cocoa, because, I first knew you as, somebody who deals in cocoa, export of cocoa. And we've seen that as supposed to be a major source of revenue. We are looking for FX now. That's a major source. But we have seen that we are not hitting even our production of cocoa. We are not even half as much as we should be doing, and not to talk about adding value. So I believe now that you're in a place of authority, controlling the agriculture in Osun State, and Osun State is one of those cocoa producing states, then we expect to see some action, some new, innovative, and progressive things coming from Osun State. What can we expect from you, Mr. Fashero? You're a cocoa person and you're in Osun State, so.
Thank you so much. In fact, the way you are saying it, I'm more grateful to my middle governor, His Excellency Ademola Adeleke, for putting me on the seat to drive the agricultural sector, because I've been on the other side, advocating here and there. I've worked with a number of ministers and governors and all that. But now I'm on the driving seat. We are going to bring about that change. I know for cocoa, it's been a bad story. We've been on 250,000 tons for over 15 years. It's sad. While others, Ivory Coast is galloping. Ivory Coast is on 2.4 million. Ghana is over 1 million tons. So we are far behind. And we in Osun, we're going to make that difference. We're going to make that difference. We're going to be working with our cocoa farmers, encourage them, give them high yield, hybrid seedlings. We're going to make land available. We're going to support them with mechanization. We're going to work with. We're already talking with Cocoa Research Institute. Mr. Dr. Adebola and his team. They're going to be working with us to ensure that seedlings are available and at the right time. At times some of these seedlings are brought out when the planting season is off. Now you have somebody who knows how and who knows when, who knows what, and that's going to bring about a difference in Osun State.
And how soon can we expect to get our own chocolate instead of importing it or exporting, the raw cocoa? How soon?
I agree with you. It's sad that we do the bulk of the work and we get the less, or the least in terms of the value. Just about 20% of the value of the product that God has given to us. Like I said, in Osun, the focus is agro-based industrialization. And that's we're going to be working with partners. We're going to across the globe and local as well. So we will drive industrialization of this agro product, not just cocoa, cashews, and all even cassava. We're going to drive it. I can assure you that. People know me for when I say a thing, it comes to pass. I can assure you that will happen. We brought the cashews from a level of 100,000 tons to when I got in as a leader of the industry at that time, to about 270,000 by the time I left it. We brought the exchange, the foreign exchange that we had, which was about $50 million, brought it to about $400,000, $400 million from $50 million. So we would do the same. We would do the same. We have people that work with us all across the world. The contacts will be used. Our relations with the federal government, the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade, going to network on that. And my governor also is already reaching out to the U.S. government and some other international agencies that will support Osun, that will give us that partnership to make a difference.
All right, just before we let you go, Mr. Commissioner, this state of emergency pronouncement, from your perspective now, what steps do you think can make it impactful? Looking at Nigeria as a whole now, not just Osun State, what steps can you suggest to make it beyond the pronouncement but impactful for the country?
Yeah, I mean, the state of emergency is long overdue. I mean, it's something that we should have had long ago. I mean, rather than paying lip service to agriculture, we have to hit the ground running and change things. That's why we have these issues of foreign exchange scarcity, pressure on foreign exchange, the continuous devaluation of the naira. You can't put something on nothing. You know, you can't put something on nothing. So I think we need to go into the fundamentals, and you know, we can't jettison our farmers. We can't just allow them to waste away. We can't allow our youth to be disenchanted with agriculture. We you know, today most of the farmers are aged and they're going, and so that's why, you know. So, but we must make agriculture attractive to the youth. The youth will not want to do something that cannot give them the kind of results that they want. We must know that this is a new age. This is a digital age, you know. So it's long overdue, and I think everyone across the board, you know, from the national level to the state level to the local government level, we all have to work together. We all have to work together and, you know, put the right framework. The way Papa Wolowo did it at that time, we have to do it and do it even better. It's something that can be done. All we just need to do is to have sincerity of purpose, singleness of mind, that this agriculture we will make the best. We will make the best out of it, and, you know, technology, you know, digitalization, accessing the farmers, making the funding available to them, making land easy to obtain, easy to clear, training them, you know, training the farmers, and developing the infrastructure around it. You know, in Osun, we're going to be ensuring that we have feeder roads. My governor already said we're going to have feeder roads and make it easy to access the farms, and then for the crops to come out from the farm to be marketed. These are areas where when you pay particular attention to it, like we are going to be doing in Osun, it's going to, you'll see the numbers changing very, very quickly. You know, very quickly. How is Ivory Coast doing it? They're number one in cocoa. Between them and Ghana, they do 60% of the world output. You know, in cashews, they're over 1 million. They're number one. If they're doing it, we can do it. And we will also, one of the things we're going to do, you know, we will also go land even from places where they're doing it, and then bring it in. How come Vietnam is able to generate $3 billion from cashew? That's almost the whole of the non-oil export in Nigeria. Maybe today is about $5 billion for one crop. Vietnam is able to generate $3 billion just from one crop. So we're gonna do it. Osun will set the pace. I can assure you.
To your words and remind you, maybe maximum of a year, even before that, we'll bring your words back to you and hope that you'll be able to defend it. Thank you so much for your time, Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture in Osun State, Mr. Tola Ashiru.
Thank you so much, Ini. Thank you for having me.
All right, now let's take a break. When we come back, we'll head to the commodities space to stay with us. Welcome back to Watching Business Morning. It's time for commodities now, and we have joining us for the senior analyst with financial derivatives company, Dumebi Oluwole, joins us virtually from Lagos. Hi, Dumebi. Good morning. We'll start right off with FDC's projection that headline inflation, which we're expecting next week, is going to hit 23.35%. Will this mop up what the NBS had said last month, that we didn't have, that the numbers did not capture all the impact of the subsidy removal?
Well, most likely, yes. The expectation is that inflationary pressures will be more, this would be more reflective in July's inflation numbers and even in subsequent months. And the reason is because the expectation is that the impact of the fuel subsidy removal, the exchange rate reforms would manifest a lot more in July's inflation numbers. If you recall, the NBS had mentioned two reasons, or one of the major reasons why inflation didn't increase as much as people and even analysts had expected, was because of the short sampling period, which was about 2 weeks just into June, and so it didn't fully capture the impact of price increases and how much even people had felt those price increases. But for July's inflation, we expect that the increase in fuel price and increase in food price will be more present in July's inflation numbers. Between July and December last year, we've seen fuel prices more than triple, and food inflation is at an 18-year high already as of June, and we'll see that increase even a lot more in July. And remember that Nigeria's inflation basket, food accounts for about 51.8% of that, and so any increase in food prices will definitely nudge up or influence the direction of headline inflation in subsequent months. And apart from even the reforms, there's still lingering structural issues that are affecting Nigeria's food inflation and even energy prices. We still have issues like insecurity, poor storage facilities, and all the number of things that are affecting agricultural sector productivity, nudging up food prices, and that's exactly what we'll continue to see in the coming months.
Can we expect that all of these factors, especially the factors connected to the subsidy removal, can we expect that it's been priced into food prices and transportation at this stage? I mean, it's been how long now since the subsidy has been removed? We've seen prices move up and all of that. Can we expect that it will be kind of stable movement? I don't know if to call it that, so that we don't get shocked anymore.
I can understand the sentiment here, and it's very much expected. The deal with reforms are that there will definitely be a period of price swings, right, where we see this sharp increase in prices just because it is an immediate market, reaction to an increase in food prices and even fuel prices. Over time, we expect that it will stabilize, right? But there are a lot of other issues that are affecting, fuel price and fuel and food prices in Nigeria today. And that's why we're saying that even if the initial market reaction, the initial shock of an increase in fuel prices begin to stabilize somewhat by the end of the year or even at the beginning of 2024, we will still, if the government doesn't, hasten its steps to address issues that are affecting agricultural sector productivity and even the productivity of industries that nudge up cost-push inflation in Nigeria, would still likely see all of this huge price swings in food and fuel prices. And remember that there's also the external effect, external events that are nudging up food prices in Nigeria. We still import quite a great deal of our food that we consume here in Nigeria, and we're looking at the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war that is still lingering and still affecting imported inflation into Nigeria. Even we're seeing some level of food protectionist approach from certain countries. Indonesia did that earlier in 2022 with its palm oil, and now we're seeing India do the same thing with its rice. So all of these things will definitely fuel inflationary pressures in the coming months. But there is still that expectation that there will be some level of semblance after the storm, after this initial racket of price swings, within the economy. They will still expect that level of will I say sanity now, or stability when it comes to food and fuel prices.
Yeah, well, we certainly look forward to those days, to maybe when there'll be stability or sanity, as you put it right there. But thank you so much for your perspective this morning.
Thank you.
Let's take a breather. I'll be back. Still here on Business Morning. Let's head straight to the markets now. And Aniti Edet has the details as he joins us right here.
Good morning.
Hi, Aniti. Good morning.
Are you an investor in the Nigerian stock markets?
I report the stock market.
Okay, you report. But
yes,
if you're an investor, it is giving actually better returns than the fixed income market, as you will be seeing on the board.
Okay. Is there competition going on between the fixed and
there's a correlation between the fixed income market and the equities market, and of course, where you have to spread your portfolio of investments. Now, with that in consideration, take a look at your board there. Year to date, the all-share index, Nigeria stock market, has delivered 27.41% in terms of returns for its investors, and that's one of the reasons why you see the market climbing up, notching higher by 0.21%, which is about some 76 billion in value. And then, of course, the all-share index is still going higher, still into the 65,000 region, still climbing higher. Let's take a look at the other part of the market. In terms of sectoral performance, it was a mixed picture there, where you see the likes of banking, counter, and the oil and gas making the gains, while profit-taking hit the share price of major components across the consumer goods, industrial goods, as well as the insurance sector. Now, this gain that you saw on the market was largely driven by GlaxoSmithKline. Let's not forget that on August the 3rd, that company, Glaxo Nigeria, announced that it will be winding up its half-a-decade operations in Nigeria. Of course, that is going to have much impact. But surprisingly, that stock has been climbing up since that day. And as at Monday's trading session, it went up by 9.55% to 9.75 kobo. So that's it for the market. Let's take a look at the activity chart before we have our guest. The activity chart, kind of a lackluster picture in terms of the volume and value of trade, but the deals was in the green. Now, to give us more details about the stock market and as well as GlaxoSmithKline, let's talk to Aruna Kabera, who is the MD CEO of Global View Capital Limited. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Aruna.
Good morning.
Okay, now I have two questions for you, but I think we are running up to just one question. The GlaxoSmithKline, which was listed sometime in the 70s, about half of a century. Now it has announced that it will be leaving the country, and of course made some announcements to the shareholders. Now, what impact will this have on the market and Nigeria's economy in general? We know that yes, the stock market, its share price is performing very well, but what's the future for with this exit? What does it hold for Nigeria's economy?
Yeah, good morning. I think it was announced on August 3rd that Glaxo's GSK will be winding up its operation in Lagos, Nigeria, and sadly, I think it's in the whole of the Africa continent. And one of the things that we put at our mind is that why they are doing that, they have already been seeding their product, most of their product, to other pharmaceutical companies, especially fixing. We can recall that before now they have already sold a part of their goods, their line manufacturing line to a company called Tiger Brand. In the market, we have a free entry and free exit. So as far as they want to withdraw voluntarily, what they will be is that they will appoint a receiver manager over them who will receive the asset and determine what the liabilities are, and whatever value that is left will actually be distributed to shareholders. I'd like to have noticed, since the announcement on Thursday, the share price is beginning every day, even as we speak, is on bid at 10.70 kobo. The belief of the investors is that what is coming might actually be bigger than what the price is now, because if you look at their books, their cash and cash equivalent is in excess of 23 billion, while they also have retained earnings in excess of 8 billion, and while their share outstanding is just 1.1 billion. It is believed that by the time that cash distribution, which they have actually mentioned in the letter they wrote to the exchange, come to be, that it will be above the price at which the stock is trading. But the only thing I also want us to put in our mind is that in the letter, there was a caveat. The investors were warned that to deal cautiously in the shares of the company as at this period. And again, the scheme of arrangement has not been prepared, has not gotten a regulatory approval. So the time frame at which that will be done is actually not known. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a big blow because it's exiting the market. But like I said, so what is good for one, what is bad for one is good for the other. As they are moving out, it's giving other pharmaceutical companies, especially Fitson, to be able to ride high. Like I said before, I understand that they have considered some of their products to Fitson even before this exit.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Aruna Kabira. That information very, very valid, especially for investors in the local bourse. And thank you for your perspective on that. So that was Aruna Kabira, MD, CEO, Global View Capital Limited. And so that's it for the markets. It is very, very attractive in contrast to the fixed income market at the moment.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anita. Let's head straight to London, where Teniola is standing by. Hi, Tenny, good morning. So we've spoken a whole lot about the issue of price cap when it comes to energy in the UK. And I always had the impression that it's for the good of the consumers. So now asking that that price cap be scrapped, what's driving this?
Hi, Annie. Good to see you too. Well, the energy price cap was one of the measures introduced to help customers deal with the high cost of energy over the past 2 years. But despite these caps, what we've seen is customers are still facing high costs of bills, as we've spoken about time and time again. And this has led to questions about, the cap's purpose and its effectiveness in basically safeguarding customers. So a new report is urging the government to rethink these caps. It claims the measures has gone beyond its original purpose of providing protection for customers and is now instead preventing customers from accessing lower tariffs and contributing to inflation. They say essentially what has been happening for the past 2 years is that almost all tariffs have been priced at, or just below the cap level set. And this has then set the market price for energy. So that has eliminated any chance for customers switching to a better deal. So they want the government to review this.
All right. So, and then also there's landlords and bosses of illegal migrants now will have to be paying more. That's a lot of work, having to search out this illegal migrant. But I know this is towards Rishi Sunak's plan, to cut out or reduce the number of migrants in the country.
Definitely, and the government has actually termed this as the biggest shake-up of civil penalties since 2014, all towards that goal. So fines have been more than tripled for anyone found guilty of allowing illegal migrants to work for them or rent their properties. For employers, the fine has been raised to up to £45,000 per illegal worker for a first breach, from £15,000 and up to £60,000 for repeat breaches, from £20,000. For landlords, fines have been increased from £80 per lodger and £1,000 per occupier for a first breach, to up to £5,000 per lodger and £10,000 per occupier. So as you can, see, it's a huge increase, a huge jump, and it basically just reflects that the government's desperate attempt to prevent asylum seekers crossing the English Channel on small boats is really kicking off. But we'll have to see if, this makes any difference at all, Inni.
Yes, but I mean, those amounts are so high, £10,000, 45. Who can pay that at a go?
Very high.
Anyway, thank you so much, Daniela. I will talk to you at 1:30 for Business Incorporated.
Thanks a lot, Inni.
All right, now let's head to the crypto space now and see what's happening there. Well, we see that the color of the map has changed from yesterday. It's now more of green than red, at least going by what's going on with Bitcoin. It's 0.47% up there, but still finding it really difficult to hit that 30,000 for Bitcoin. Its dominance has actually improved a bit compared to yesterday, 48.06. Let's look at the prices now before we go to a major story which has been around since yesterday. So we see 0.55% increase in Bitcoin price. Ethereum is, however, still in the negative, 1,008. BNB 0.47 in the negative. XRP has recovered a bit. Yesterday it was really down. We see it recovered 0.14% at 0.62 dollars. But there's a story that has been making the rounds since yesterday. Perhaps you have also seen that PayPal Holdings Incorporated is pulling out a stable coin, and this is the first large financial company and potentially a significant boost to the sluggish adoption of digital tokens. I'm just wondering, and we know PayPal is issued, it's in dollars, it's dominated in dollars, so I wonder what this will do. But let's have Seun Dina, he's the Chief Executive Officer of TradeFather, joining us now to talk about some of the implications. Hi Seun, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So what do you see as some of the implication of this PayPal's holding? Well, first of all, help us to understand what exactly does this mean? How is it going to affect my everyday transaction?
So technically, the introduction of this stablecoin by PayPal, it's just a reflection and recognition of the unique capabilities that the blockchain technology offers. And for the everyday user, it's just an extra avenue for you to be able to transact. PayPal has been providing services for several users for a very long time, and there have been most of their things are premised on ensuring buyer and seller trust and being able to ensure that they provide lending services. But for the average person, for you, it doesn't really matter. If you're using PayPal services, it's just an extra way for you to transact and do business. And I'm sure definitely leveraging their stable coin, it will make their transactions a lot faster as opposed to being able to going through the traditional banking system. And in terms of when it comes to dispute resolution, we are sure that PayPal has always been one of the best for resolving disputes, and using this stable coin that's based on the blockchain will ensure that those disputes are resolved very fast.
Well, this is in the U.S. Yeah, but this is in the United States. Do we say coming to Africa, Nigeria?
Yes, it will help adoption in Nigeria. So PayPal is a fintech. We have several fintechs across Nigeria who traditionally, the way they process, they have what you call mobile wallets, or they have wallets where they have a digital version of the Naira. So just like even with your digital banking, there's some of digital version of the Naira, and then of course the CBN has also introduced the e-Naira. So I believe that the CBN can take from some of the things that the US regulatory authorities have done with PayPal, put some of the measures in place, like the smart contract, which gives them ability to freeze transactions. Give them ability to reverse transactions, basically all those dispute resolution, give them regulatory insight as to what the transactions are going on the blockchain. So without a doubt, it will definitely, come to Africa soon. Maybe not through PayPal, but of course through several fintechs. I'm a part of a an African consortium for digital currencies, which we're also looking around being able to provide stable coins for the African ecosystem, liaising with the different central banks. So evidently, digital currencies are here to stay, and PayPal's introduction of their stablecoin is a true reflection that this technology can indeed do wonders.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems you guys will still have to convince the government. I mean, I don't think CBN stance with cryptocurrency has changed, and we just had SEC also say Binance is illegal. So I mean, you still have some work to do.
So for cryptocurrencies, right?
Yeah.
It's basically, they have some fundamentals, it's also built, they are all built on the blockchain technology. But as we are saying, with what PayPal has done with this stable coin, it is a cryptocurrency, it's based on cryptography, but there are several amendments that have been done to the smart contracts. They put in smart contracts in place. Like your traditional Bitcoin is irreversible. Once you transmit it, it's gone. You have to talk to this beneficiary to reverse it for you. So there's no middleman. Right, and that's what that has been the major concern of most of the governments across the world, that they are not able to. So, but of course, most of the businesses are also, liaising with the governments for regulation. Once there's regulation on how these things work, there's no doubt that the blockchain technology is applicable and will solve several issues and, a lot of bottlenecks. So let's look at this PayPal one, for instance. The traditional PayPal transaction, if I paid for a product and I did not get value, I'll first have to report to PayPal. PayPal will then have to initiate a dispute resolution, talk to you, who is the seller of the service, and there'll be a lot of back and forth. But then with blockchain technology, implementing smart contracts, which automatically removes all those bottlenecks, they're able to confirm that this transaction has been completed, this person has made payment. So basically, they provide sort of like an escrow service, but now it's going to be escrow on steroids, since it's on the blockchain technology.
All right, thank you so much, Chief Executive Officer of Trade, Father Seun Dana, for your perspective on this PayPal. We look forward to better days on blockchain.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it on the program. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I don't know when PayPal will come to your doorstep, but we'll be looking out for it. So it's been 55 minutes of current and relevant business conversations, and I hope it's added value to your day as you set out there to make out money. I'll be back at 1:30 with update from the world of business. I'll see you then, and have fun.